Welcome. What's going on, guys? This is the frequency of Jah Rasta, the Earth Tonus, manifesting here for you today. What's going on? What's going on? I hope you're having a lovely day. It hasn't been a while since I've been online, but I wanted to share a message today because I feel like there is something very unique going on in the world. Sorry, guys. I literally meditated and woke up, and I'm doing it. I just warmed up my car, and I'm going in with the message. This is a message to the world. This is a message to my friends, to my unknown knowers, and definitely my conscious community. This is a message to everybody. Today I woke up. It was nice and cozy. I turned on my little space heater to make it even more cozy, and then I closed my eyes and I went into the abyss of my meditation. It was really nice. And when I came out of my meditation, there was a little bit of uncomfortability. I was a little uncomfortable. I didn't really know necessarily who to go to, who to talk to. The only thing I could really think is I just want to be out in nature. I just want to be around the trees, around the birds, around wildlife. Why did I feel this way? Why did I have such this intense passion for this? What I came to realize is I want to talk about people in a kind way for a moment, because I don't mean to project any negativity towards anybody or call anybody wrong and I'm right. None of that. I would just like to put out a message to the spiritual community, the conscious community, the ones who are seeking to go within. I would like to strike your ego for a moment today, not to harm, but with love, It's okay for you to be 100% who you are. So, take this with kindness when I say this, but it can sound pretty tough. But a lot of you spiritual people are new agers. And I used to not like that word, but I think what happens is with age, you realize what a new ager is. And a lot of y'all were with the spiritual trend. Y'all thought it was cool. That's what your friends were doing. It seemed to be a place better than where you were. Being liberated from some of your lower desires and some of your hindrances. But what I came to realize is some of y'all are real new agers. And what I mean by new ager is this whole spiritual thing has become, it's just a trend. And your time is up. Your time is up. Because it's just a trend. Sadly, when you start to seek the kingdom of God, when you start to experience bliss, when you start to experience mercy, when you start to tackle suffering, when you start to let go of your desires, what happens is there is this space that becomes empty when you have no more desires, when you're letting go of material desires, the things that's clinging you to your body, clinging you to wanting things. Once you let go of all of this, there's this empty space that must be filled. And what I think happens with the New Agers is they don't fill this space with devotion, with practice, with extended devotion. When you don't feel this empty space, what happens is it leaves this vessel, this being, this body, this projection. It gives it an opportunity to be hijacked, because this space hasn't been filled with this blissful practice, these practices that help your vibration keep rising higher. And I think that a lot of you guys, once the New Age trend is starting to fall off, you're still suffering, you're still in the body, you're still experiencing life, I think what happens is after a while you go back to the same old you. You go back to the same old things you were always doing. And that is okay. But then that's also New Age. You know, it's just something cool. And it's okay for you to think spirituality is cool, but then there's a lot of us, like me, who's taking this very serious and who's going on this ride for life. I feel like some people, they just are here doing what is pleasurable. I think, like I said, I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. I really want people to be able to be liberated from this experience. But I think that this whole trend with this spirituality thing, after it's not pleasurable, after you're not experiencing the honeymoon phase of spirituality, of extreme bliss, extreme sobbing tears, and coming to all these crazy realizations as your ego is being torn apart and your world is being torn apart, and everything is unknown. I think once it gets a little bit uncomfortable, once you know, as we call days, as days start to settle in, you start to settle back into your old self. You start to settle back into what you were doing before. And I feel that there comes a point where a lot of people who are on this path, they get back to just wanting pleasure. They just want to experience pleasure in all things. In all things. They want to experience pleasure in work. They want to experience pleasure in food. They want to experience pleasure in watching TV. Want to experience pleasure with people. They want to experience pleasure in everything. And this is where my spirit was struck. This is the reason I made this video. I don't feel like entertaining anymore. What do I mean by that? I mean, everything is about entertainment. That's what this pleasurable thing is about. Everybody needs to be entertained. Nobody is sitting, experiencing with the self. I mean, I take that back. Not nobody. Many people are. But what I'm finding is the people who are falling off their spiritual path, who feel like they're starting to become depressed or feeling these anxieties and tensions come up again. It's because they're only basking in the pleasures. They only want the pleasures. And I think that this is New Age. I think that this is the trend of New Age spirituality. You want to leave the realm of suffering, but then you're not willing to leave the realm of pleasure. What I mean by that is everything that you do that's pleasurable is not always good for you, and it can hinder your life purpose. And this is what I see happening. A lot of people are wanting their pleasures. They just want to indulge in their pleasures. And I have this concern for the world because I do believe that, especially in the Western world where I live in America, a lot of people, if they can't be entertained, if they can't experience pleasure in the moment, then they're not really interested in it. And that's where I fall into hand and say, I don't want to be an entertainer. And I don't really care to be entertained right now. So what I saw was, I like YouTube somewhat. I do like to gain conscious information on it and stuff like that. But what I realized, there's a certain level that it becomes pure entertainment, because you have to take the knowledge that you gain off of a platform like that, if you use it for that way, and then you have to go use it in real life. You have to breathe, sit and breathe and then digest these practices. But I don't see this happening all around, and I see that people want me to entertain them too. Like this video, a lot of you aren't going to get to it because it's not entertaining. I'm not bringing you pleasure. I'm sorry, but life is a little bit more than that. So where are you going with this, Jah? Where are you trying to go with the fact that many are being entertained and indulging in pleasures that are hindering their life purpose, or it could be? What I see is many are interested in pleasure. They're interested in entertainment. They want to be entertained by others. They want to experience pleasure by others. And when I came from my meditation, I realized that the spirit doesn't entertain you. The spirit doesn't feed you pleasures. And holding on to these keeps you in the body. It keeps you in the five senses. It keeps your perception here, limited. And this is my concern. My concern is that this whole understanding of the spirit is being lost. People are now getting comfortable with going back to their old selves. People are getting comfortable with being entertained and merely seeking pleasure in all things. And I think it's a trap. I think it's a conditionment of the body. I think that it's not really that fun to be entertained always. It's actually merely, I feel it's a place of confusion. It's a place of not truly facing the self. How can you hear yourself, your thoughts? How can you witness the witness? How can you observe the witness when you're being entertained in everything? How can you observe the witness when everything that you want, everything that you're trying to get is pleasure? And then, if it's not pleasurable, if it's not entertainment, you don't really want to deal with it anymore. You don't really want to go any further because it's not fun. It's not pleasurable. It's not entertaining. And I'm not an entertainer. I'm a liberator. So what does that mean? I am not here to entertain you. I am not here to merely be your pleasure experience. And I think that's the confusion that people are getting with God too. They want God to make everything entertaining and pleasurable. And if it's not that, then they're not really interested. It doesn't strike their attention. It doesn't get their awareness. And that's not what spirituality is all about. It's not about jumping into the thoughts, jumping into the pleasures, jumping into this moving image in front of you. And I'm not talking about television. I'm talking about Maya, Kalima, the illusion of this physical body. And I feel like this is where people are losing touch of themselves. They are all about the body. And we're losing touch. I see that there are ones who say, I want to be more like I used to be. I remember when I was doing all these spiritual practice. I'm trying to get back there. I want this. You want the pleasures that you felt. You want the lifting of the suffering. That's just a piece of it, though. That is just a piece of the spiritual journey. And I feel that being in the body, focusing on these pleasures, just being entertained, it limits our perceptions. How? What I feel is that this whole television thing, this whole entertainment thing, this whole when you're not working for the system, you're trying to like be happy. You're trying to figure out in these desperate acts, as Sadhguru would say, to be happy. In the you're being more successful. You got kids, you got a house, you got a nice car, you got insurance, but then your face is getting longer and longer, and you're doing desperate acts to be happy. I feel that we are losing grasp. I'm talking about the people who have already made the leap into the journey, who have been willing to take a moment and close their eyes and sit with themselves to try to work on the breath and the stillness of being here now. If you feel like you're losing grasp or touch, if you feel like you want to get back to where you were, then this video might be for you. You're only on this course. And right now you're riding into some bumps. But then my frequency was projected here for you to just give you a little knock and say, hey, you're falling asleep again. That's why they call it woke. You're waking up, you know? But that doesn't mean you can't fall asleep again. That doesn't mean that you can't start fabricating this world with your mind again and becoming an ego. I think that's what happens when this whole entertainment thing steps in. When we focus on entertainment, when we focus on our pleasures, then we lose connection with the spirit. And I think that's really key. Let's get to that, because you see where this conversation is going. One of the main things I'd like to say is that we're losing touch of connection to the spirit. And I don't feel like being a part of this world anymore. Not that I want to die, but I don't want to be. I'm getting tired. I'm 26 years old, guys, and I'm getting tired of being human with you. I'm tired of talking about bills, cars, clothing, houses, and we've been talking about this for years. And then the entertainment thing, it's all about come on, we've been talking about this forever. Like, oh yeah, that was real cool. Jack did a spinning kick and a flip and then crossed his arms, and that was so cool. I'm getting tired of cool things. I see that people are holding on to these pleasures. People are holding on to the entertainment. And I feel like this is limiting them from expanding. You know, nobody wants to be wizards. Nobody's trying to be wizards. Nobody's accepting their psychic abilities. What are your psychic abilities? Beyond touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing. you can still sense things. You can still experience things. You can still receive information. You can still receive love. But people are changing their antennas because it's not entertaining. It's not pleasurable enough. Maybe these are just limitations of the body. Pleasure. The desire to be entertained. I see that my spirit, I don't want to carry on a conversation with anybody. With anybody. My mom, my friends, my dad, anybody. I don't want to talk to y'all about entertainment. I don't want to talk to y'all about pleasures. What I realize is this is what's hindering me from rising my vibration. It's just this constant conditionment in the body. And what I realize is I'm ready to go. Not to die, not to commit suicide, not to just leave everybody and go to the forest, but I'm ready to go. All this low frequency everyday talk that's been happening our whole life, if it's not about entertainment, it's about getting our pleasure, I've had enough. I've had enough. And even I'm starting to get enough of the conscious community. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people tuning into conscious YouTubers, conscious speakers, spiritual leaders. But then back to the entertainment, back to the pleasures. They're talking about the same problems that we already got the lessons to. And that's what I'm starting to realize, like, how long are we going to stay here? Because I'm about to go. Like I'm about to stop, like, responding to certain conversations. And I even realized that if it's not entertainment and it's not pleasure, when it is those, I can have an argument. Because these conversations that I'm talking about focus on bringing me pleasure, bringing the person pleasure that I'm talking to, or it's entertaining each other. We're entertaining each other. And once the entertainment is run out, it's boring, it's getting upsetting. But then these are conditionments in the body that we have allowed ourselves to fall victim to. We've allowed ourselves to fall victim to this persona, this projection that we're giving off. If you're not a wizard now, I don't really care. Because you're talking about, like imagine, like Harry Potter. You done went to, where was it, Hogwarts? You done went to the wizard school. You done seen everybody doing magic. And then you done been sent back to the regular world to deal with people who talk about work and they want to focus on good tasting foods. And like, what I realize is the universe is gonna put certain things in your path, and then you're gonna have to deal with them. Pleasurable, suffering, good or bad, in the body, entertainment. It's all, that's just experience. So that's normal. That's normal. We're gonna be here for that. That's normal. But I'm tired of talking about the normal stuff. The everyday stuff that I already know about. Like it's so obvious. I see this video is getting kind of long, and I don't want to rant, even though this has been a little bit one of those videos. But I will put this out because my message to you guys is there might be some really positive definitions of a new age, but when I use this, just understand that I use it in these terms. Don't be one that's with the trend. It's okay to be with the trend, but then as the trend leaves, be willing to do some sacrifice. Be willing to put your emotions and your ego aside, because then you can transcend. You really can. But I don't think I'm the only one who's about to just leave this old world behind, because it's not serving my spirit. And a lot of people who indulge in the world of pleasure and indulge in the world of entertainment, they are constantly looking up at others, seeking validation or not feeling good about their own lives because they feel like they're not good enough, they're not doing enough. And that's what you're gonna deal with as long as you stay a part of that lifestyle. And if you want to transcend from that, then leave it. Bye-bye. Leave it. How do you leave it? Come back to the meditation. Come back and close your eyes and focus on your breath. And watch as your thoughts attach to the desires. Watch how they attach to the pleasures. Watch how they attach to the entertainment. And then see that you're stuck here. That you're stuck, and that unless you get out of this conditionment, you will keep being here. And your mind and your subconscious will keep projecting this reality onto you. But there's more. You just stopped being a part of that world. You just decided that you wanted to be entertained and you wanted pleasure. Well, what happens when you die? You think you'll be able to be entertained then? You think you'll have a choice to choose to turn on pleasures, to turn around and walk the other direction and go be with pleasures? I'm not sure you'll have a choice then. Blessings, guys. This is the frequency and projection of Jah Rasta, the Earth Tonus, coming in to spread peace, love, and positive vibrations. Let's rise to a higher consciousness and leave this lower, suffering self behind. I'll be back soon, guys.